I wanted to make a quick video about cognitive dissonance and its role in narcissistic relationships and recovery from narcissistic abuse. Cognitive dissonance is this phenomenon where you have two or more opposing ideas in mind and you can't reconcile them. Like, you can't bring these two completely different images together. So in a narcissistic relationship, you have that love bombing version that you met in the beginning, this amazing person, love of your life, soulmate, this kind of thing, and then the absolute monster that they turned into. And the reason that people struggle so much is that they cannot reconcile these two images of the narcissist. They cannot bring them together into the same person. And so people get stuck going back and forward. Are they amazing? Are they terrible? Are they good? Are they bad? Do they love me? Do they hate me? And it's so uncomfortable that people tend to do one of two things. They either go into this permanent freeze state where it's like they can't make a decision and they're stuck. And this can create this kind of perpetual almost dissociation in the relationship and after. Or their brain decides to go to the one that is less distressing and hyper focuses on the good version of this narcissist. Now, this battle between the good and the bad, who is this person? Are they this person or this person? Can keep you stuck in a relationship with a narcissist for a long time. And when you get out of the relationship, you're discarded by the narcissist, for example, and you're desperately trauma bonded to them. People experience a huge amount of euphoric recall, which is where they are hyper focusing on the good times and the good version of the narcissist. And this is where we see a lot of stories that people get stuck with in telling themselves. So in every situation, we're always telling ourselves a story, and it can really hinder your recovery. So for example, you might be telling yourself that the narcissist was the love of your life, that you will never feel this way again, that they were your soulmate. And this story keeps you so stuck in trying to heal, and it comes out of the extreme cognitive dissonance. And this is where it's so important to break the cognitive dissonance and really see this monster for what they really are, which is a monster who's really good at acting and manipulating people to get what they want. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissistic abuse educator and a narcissistic relationship recovery coach, and I work with people to help them move through the trauma bond and recover from these kind of relationships, and to unpack and understand what really went on. It's also so important to understand that good people can't pretend to be bad, but bad people can absolutely pretend to be good to get what they want. I'm going to give you two tools to start to break that cognitive dissonance. The first one is to write a long list of all of the terrible things that this person has done. And if you've been with this person for any period of time, it needs to be long, like 10 pages. And I want you to keep adding to it. It's going to be hard to sit down and remember everything. So it's important to add to it as you think of things throughout the day. And the second thing is I want you to write down all of the stories that you're telling yourself about the narcissist and the relationship so that you can start to change them and so that you can recognize them throughout the day, name them, and create a bit of distance. So for example, you catch yourself saying, I'm never going to feel this way about anyone ever again. And then you go, actually, that's that story that I keep telling myself. Create a bit of distance, and I want you to work on rewriting these stories. Because the reality is that most of the time in the relationship, you actually felt unsure, insecure, unsafe, anxious, confused, and it wasn't amazing. It wasn't a fairy tale outside of potentially the initial love bombing phase and the tiny little breadcrumbs of good times or less bad times throughout the rest of the relationship. There is always potential for healing after one of these relationships, but it's so important that you're doing the right work so that you can move through the stages in a healthier time frame. Because people who aren't doing the work, breaking the cognitive dissonance, learning about narcissistic abuse and trauma bonding and all of this kind of stuff can get stuck for years, and it shouldn't take that long to heal. Make sure you jump across and follow me on YouTube, and I also have 2 podcasts out that are available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and you can see the full episodes with video on my YouTube channel.
Ready, set, let's go.
Welcome to the Narc Abuse Breakdown podcast.
Love bombing can be very subtle, can look like the narcissist actually making sense for once in their life.
Narcissistic abuse is a predictable pattern of abuse carried out by a person with narcissistic personality disorder or high narcissistic traits.
What are they going to use to be able to really control you?
I'm Claire Auden, and together with Adriana Bucci from Let's Get Your Shift Together and Telsha Edinburgh from the T on NPD, we discuss different aspects of narcissistic abuse as well as reflecting on our own personal experiences.
I'm on the